Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is June the 14th, 2026. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Sunday, happy fun day to you. Hopefully you've been having a good day, a good weekend. As for me, as for mine, it's been good. Had a little bit of a detour or so, if you will. You could say it went to the dogs, but overall it's been good. So let's go ahead and pick up where we left off from Friday's episode. Yeah. We went to check on the dogs because, like I said, dog sitting this weekend. That was the plan. That was the operation. They were good, solid, nice start to everything. And then I went to Zoe's, headed to see my girlfriend, my beautiful, wonderful girlfriend. So yes, that was nice. Situation was essentially like, hey, we're going to hang out for a bit. Then we're going to both, go down together. You get to meet the little dogs. And then, we'll call that a night, drive back home. So that was the play. And, essentially what we eat for dinner, we had Young's Kitchen. I was itching to go back since the first time we had went. And I got the ideal order this time, not the order I was like, ooh, well, I wanted to know what their pepper steak was hitting like. This time I got what I would normally get. So I got the General Tso's chicken, which was very yummy. It definitely hit as I expected it to. Zoe got the sesame chicken. We also split some chicken teriyaki skewers. It was very yummy. We had some crab rangoons and then egg roll. Yeah, I think we each got an egg roll. Yeah. So that was very yummy. We then checked on the dogs and they were good. But something I noticed driving to and fro was on the highway that they were doing construction. They were setting up for construction for what I assumed was just the whole rest of the night. And I was like, oh, okay, well, at least it seems like that's not too bad, since, it's in the middle of the night, dead of night. Okay, that's cool. So, fast forward a bit, we wake up, it's Saturday morning, and I go, by myself to check on the dogs for the morning part. And I see that the construction is getting set up, or not getting set up, but there's more traffic, and now it's the morning. And I'm like, oh, so they meant they're doing weekend construction the entire time. It's not just at night. Oh man, that's not good. We'll have to see how that looks. So, we check on the dogs. Dogs are good. I gotta stop saying we in a situation where it goes back and forth from being we to just me. But anyway, I'm checking on the dogs. They're solid. Everything's fine. And I take a quick pit stop at the house because I'm kind of, crossing my fingers, knocking on the wood, thinking maybe they are going to stop somehow. Maybe that's going to be the thing, or maybe it isn't going to be as bad as I'm thinking it's going to be. So I take a quick pit stop at the house, my apartment, and then I head to Zoe's. No sooner did I get on the highway, I'm immediately at a gridlock standstill. And I'm like, oh no. Oh no. And I had this backup plan because I saw how long that stretch of construction was going to be. And I'm like, well, if I can just get to this off ramp, which, essentially would only be like 2 or 3 minutes, if that, at a normal pace, we'll be good to go. We'll be fine. It took me about 10 minutes and a little bit of getting lucky to shifting over to the right lane at the right time type of thing. And I was able to get on the off ramp to, my what is it? Alternative route. There we go. And so I'm like, okay, that kind of sucks. What am I going to do? Because I have to make that technically, if I'm on my idea plan, I still have to go visit the dogs at least, I think from that point, 3 more times. Yeah, 3 more times. And I'm like, oh, that won't do. That might not do. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll see, when I finally, get settled, what's an alternative route that doesn't require the highway, and see how long that takes. But by the time I get back to Zoe's, I'm pretty tired, just from driving that length. I'm like, I want to sleep. I'm sleepy. So I sleep for a bit. I wake up nervous because I got to think about this stuff, and I know that I got to go see the dogs in the afternoon again. So I'm like, all right, let me check. And essentially, it's going to be an hour drive just taking the street. Usually it's about a 45-minute drive, which I know to some people that's not much, but for me, that's a lot. Okay. That's a lot of driving time to and fro, especially doing that multiple times, in a whole day. And then technically my Sunday as well, because I do it Sunday morning. So I was just like, I gotta make a hard decision. As much as I hate it, I'm gonna have to cut hanging out with my beautiful, wonderful, awesome girlfriend, and I'm just gonna have to leave halfway through the day, and that's just what it's gonna have to be. So I was bummed. I wasn't happy, but we did get ourselves up and we got lunch. We had pizza at Raimundo's. We didn't actually, we picked it up, but whatever. We got each two pizzas. She got her Hawaiian pizza, was very yummy. I got my sausage and pepperoni pizza, which was also very yummy. Also, like they were both red pepper people because I love covering my shit in red peppers. It's very spicy. And then let's see, then we split a Caesar salad, and she surprised me because I really wanted her to make some cookies. Like that was kind of the game plan for the weekend at some point, and it just got cut short. So she had ordered a couple of the cookies that they had. She initially had ordered an M&M cookie, but they didn't have it, so we got a confetti cookie, which I believe had like white macadamia, like nut in it or something, or some kind of white chocolate chip. I don't know, and then a chocolate chip cookie. And they're pretty good. I will say though, the confetti cookie was rock hard, stale as fuck, but still pretty good for a rock hard cookie. But yeah, so then we had to part ways, unfortunately, and I had to take the hour-long trek, which made me feel like I was going over the river and through the fucking woods, under a goddamn mulberry bush and some shit, just to get back home. And we did. I checked on the dogs again. They were good. Honestly, it was a glorious run. There was no problems, no setbacks. I didn't leave any door open for any shenanigans. So love that for me. Clap it up. I'm kind of spoiling it there. But that run went well in the afternoon. Later on that night, also went well. We had a gym session, and that was more or less my Saturday. After Saturday goes into obviously the Sunday, the fun day where we are now. And I got up and I was going to check on the dogs again. But I had realized I woke up a little bit later. I fell asleep like around midnight, pretty timely, but woke up in the middle of the night because it was storming so hard. It was raining so hard. And I was like, look, if it's raining like this at around like 5 or 6, there's not going to be a point of me checking on the dogs at that point anyway. Plus, I'm assuming that they're coming later in the afternoon. So I was like, I'll just fall asleep again at some point, wake up, and then I'll check on the dogs. So when I woke up, it was around maybe 9:30. I go to check, and they were already home. I was like, oh, well, okay, never mind then. And so everything was good. Love that. I stopped back at the house, got myself together for the gym, and then we went to the gym again. So gym for both sessions has been good. I feel like I pushed myself pretty well. It felt like overall I kind of netted neutral. Cause I wound up taking the Thursday off and not going. So in that way, it was kind of nice that I got like the same 6 days a week that I normally would get. That being said, I don't know. I'm in a weird place right now. Cause, for some reason, I don't know. I think I was just kind of a little bit anxious, a little bit nervous just with some of the health stuff that's been going on or whatever. And then there's just also a desire to get stronger. So like there's a certain understanding knowing that like, hey, you can lift weight. But like if you're constantly leaning out, you're not really getting as strong as you could. At least that's kind of what I'm thinking, right? So I'm like, maybe it wouldn't be so bad to bulk up, especially too when you're having situations where like you're more tired than you would be, you feel a little bit weaker because you're not eating as much. You know what I mean? Like it kind of seems a little bit duh, but I just go through these cycles and moments where I'm more focused on one thing or I'm more focused on another. So, over the past like week or two, I have kind of been trying a little bit of this with the yogurt, a little bit of that with the eggs. And I don't know. I think with how I was eating this week, especially when I kind of like splurged a bit and had some crazy, extra whatever, some slop bowl. I was like, oh man, I've really put on more weight than I wanted to. The bolt got a bit dirty, and so I don't know. I'm kind of at a crossroads with that. So we'll see. The journey always continues. That's the thing about the whole weight loss thing. Sometimes you gain that shit back, and it's like, oh, what should I do? But needless to say, gym was good. I'm overall in a good place. A bit of a weird weekend, if you will. But yeah, post gym, we came home, did a little bit of stretch. I got set up for the news. That was the plan. That was the play. But I was so tired again. I was just like, nah. Normally I would be getting some nap time with my girlfriend. I'm gonna just continue to get some nap time in. So I slept some more, and then got up. Decided to actually look at my news, and in a way, I'm kind of, I don't want to say glad because this is some unfortunate news that we will be getting to, but I did get another story to kind of round us all out for the day. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup, and let's get into the news. I also got to start with some mea culpas. We got to talk about some sports stuff, but we'll save it. And the smart long time listeners know they probably heard me talking like, what the fuck is Isaiah talking about? This is why he shouldn't be talking about the goddamn Knicks. And it's like, I know. Truthfully, don't give me no sports story unless it's like about gambling or some shit, man. Ugh. But hey, I'm doing my best. All right. I was gonna correct it, but then technically, the Knicks just did it anyway for me. They fixed my problem. All right. So let's start off with our mea culpas, our correction corner, if you will. The Knicks did take it in 5, not 4 games. That's my bad. When I was listening, like I said at the time, very offhand, it sounded so big, it sounded so major, seemed so like, whoa, what a comeback! Oh my god, they did it! I thought they did the whole fucking thing. I thought they won the championship. I thought that was the finals. No, that they needed to win one more game, and they did. So there you go. Now they are the NBA champions. Congratulations. I feel no ways about it in terms of like the Spurs and the Knicks. I don't really give a fuck, but whatever. Big moment. Everyone's celebrating. Let's see here. Moving on, this should be something we should be covering as in terms of like a main story, but I've just been so put off by it. It just feels like a nothing burger, really. Like, are we surprised that the rich get fucking richer? So Elon Musk becomes first trillionaire after SpaceX IPO. There was something about this in the story kind of hit the airwaves where it was like Elon Musk yet again is so big, too big to fail, that whether or not the Tesla shit was gonna work out in terms of him getting his like shares and all that, which was gonna make him a trillionaire potentially. This was also on the table too. So there you go. And then also to throw in the too big to fail aspect. I think at this point with the whole Twitter X bullshit, when he had initially bought it, the whole thing like bled the whole thing to the red. So everyone was like, damn, this shit kind of sucks. It sucks to be kind of a shareholder right now for this. But, at this point we're betting on Elon Musk, and because he's doing so well, quote unquote, with all the other shit with Tesla, with SpaceX and all that, and the fact that he has more or less absorbed Twitter X, the everything app, into SpaceX and all this other stuff with like the Grok and all this. So now we're talking about AI, we're talking about all this other blah blah bullshit. Actually, the people who are still invested in X, if I'm not mistaken, have kind of come back to the grain. Like, they're kind of back to good. So even though X is not a good app to be on, it's not like he actually fixed it like he said he fucking would. Free speech is not legal. Comedy is not better or back again. No. But that being said, it wasn't a bad buy, I guess. So, yay. I guess this guy has some kind of Midas touch or some fucking shit. That being said, with them going public, with their IPO, he stood to become a trillionaire, and I was just kind of waiting to talk about it until it actually happened, and it did. So, yay, cool, man. And honestly, I would not be such a fucking hater of a guy like this if we didn't have extreme poverty, if we didn't have people not being able to eat to get the simple, basic necessities that they fucking need, I don't mind a rich man. I don't give a fuck about that. Do you? I'll do me. The problem is we are promoting, we are advocating, we are clapping for these kind of fucking people, while meanwhile the things that we could solve, the people we could help, we choose not to. Like, it's pure fucking greed. Like, I just don't want to hear it any other fucking way. So yeah, I will always hate this system. I always talk shit about people like that and not feel bad about it. So yeah, tomatoes to this fucking man. Anyway, let's move on to the stories I did intend to cover. From Al Jazeera, UK forces seize suspected Russian shadow fleet tanker in English Channel. British forces have seized a Russian shadow fleet oil tanker that was trying to transit the English Channel, Prime Minister Keir Starmer says. The successful operation delivers yet another blow to Russia and reminds those fueling Russian President Vladimir Putin's war in Ukraine that we will not let them hide, Starmer said on a post on X on Sunday. The United Kingdom Ministry of Defense also confirmed the early Sunday seizure of the vessel Smitros? I don't know. It said the tanker, sailing under a Cameroon flag, was boarded by Royal Marine Commandos and National Crime Agency officials with support from Chinook helicopters and other aircraft, a frigate, and a mine hunter. Skipping the quotes here, I don't really care about them. The operation lasted 6 hours, the ministry said, adding that the vessel will be provisionally moved to an anchorage off the south coast of England and will be monitored for any environmental or safety concerns. Yeah, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky thanks Starmer and the British people for their principled resolve. I don't know. They're acting like these things are like big blows to Russia, but they have so many of these things, and not to mention too, because of the Iran, energy crisis, Russian oil is just up. Period. Also too, I get it. These are sanctioned things. These are problematic. These aren't good. Whatever. Blah 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 blah. But when I think back on the Cuba situation, if I am not mistaken, it was a Russian shadow fleet tanker that got oil to them. That little bit of drop that they only got that one fucking time. So am I to still believe and feel that like they're the bad guy in this situation or all the time? Like, no. And at the end of the day, individually, these are just tankers moving fucking oil. I'm not like, oh my God, this is the problem. If we just stop this, we're gonna stop Vladimir Putin and all of his ills. That's not true. That's not the fucking case. So, once again, in a way, kind of feels like another nothing burger to talk about or cover, but we do see more of these as time goes on. At least I find myself seeing more of them and winding up covering them. So I don't know, worth talking about or whatever. But let's go ahead and move on from the seas to the skies. From CBS News, fighter jet crashes in Washington State, sparking wildfire. Let me take a little quick water break. Excuse me. A fighter jet crashed into a mountain Sunday afternoon in Yakima County, Washington, sparking a wildfire, local officials said. The crash occurred at about noon near Rimrock Lake in Washington state. The pilot sustained minor injuries after ejecting from the plane and was transported to the hospital, the Yakima County Sheriff's Office said. The crash sparked a fire in the area, prompting the evacuation of campers as firefighters worked to suppress it, officials said. The U.S. Marine Corps told CBS affiliate KIRO TV in a statement that that the crash jet was an FA-18 Hornet assigned to Marine Aircraft Group 11, 3rd Marine Aircraft Wing. The jet experienced a non-fatal aviation mishap while conducting routine training approximately 55 miles southeast of Seattle, Washington, the statement said. The 3rd Marine Aircraft Wing is based in Marine Corps Air Station Miramar in San Diego, California. The Natchez Fire Department said the fire was being suppressed by helicopters and at least one engine from the Okanagan Wenatchee National Forest crew. Helicopters and at least one engine from the U.S. Forest Service Okinawan Wenatchee National Forest also responded. The size of the blaze was unclear. The cause of the crash is under investigation, officials said. So yeah, bit scary there, but glad that, we're talking injuries and not a casualty in that situation, so that's good. But moving on to our next story from ABC6 Action News. 3 Philadelphia police officers shot in Winfield, suspect dead. 3 Philadelphia police officers were wounded, and a suspect was killed during a shooting in the city's Winfield neighborhood late Saturday night. Sources say the suspect who was killed is a retired firefighter. The incident unfolded shortly after 10:30 p.m. At the intersection of 54th and Arlington Streets, where officers had responded to reports of a vehicle that had been struck by gunfire. Police Commissioner Kevin Bethel said officers encountered a 57-year-old man at the scene who became involved in an altercation with them. According to investigators, officers ordered the man to comply with commands, but he refused. Surveillance video from street cameras show the man confronting several officers. The footage appears to show the suspect getting in the officers' faces and shoving one officer before being pushed away from the group into the street. Police say the man then pulled a firearm, leading to an exchange of gunfire. 3 officers were struck during the shooting. Authorities said 1 officer was shot in the face, another in the hip, and a third in the leg. All 3 were taken to the hospital and were stable as of Sunday morning. Let's see. Investigators recovered nearly 50 pieces of ballistic evidence from the scene. The suspect was transported to Jefferson Hospital, where he was pronounced dead shortly after 11 p.m. So yeah, I mean, I imagine that, yes, the shooting does remain under investigation. There might be more details to come. Obviously, it's pretty sad, pretty unfortunate. I do get the cause and effect of this, scenario. If there's more details that come to light, maybe you feel a certain kind of way or, whatever. Like I said, I would obviously come back and talk about that. But, yeah, it's just an unfortunate situation to unfold. The person comes in, I got a gun, they got guns, and I'm where we're going at it, and I say, hey, I'm going to use it, and they say, we're going to use it, and now everyone's fucking shooting at each other. So that's pretty scary. It's pretty grim. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to our last story. This one caught me off guard. This was the story where I woke up and I saw it on my phone, and I thought, this is a stunt. Like, this no way this is actually fucking happen. But it did. So here we are. We're about to, I guess, give our condolences and flowers, or maybe not flowers, depending on who you are, to Oliver Tree. So let's go ahead and take our last break and we'll close it out. All right. All right. Our last story comes from The Guardian. Musician Oliver Tree, 32, killed in helicopter crash in Brazil. 2 helicopters collided over Rio de Janeiro on Saturday morning and crashed in the city's western zone, killing all 6 people aboard, including comedian and singer Oliver Tree, according to reports. Rio de Janeiro military fire fire department said that one of the helicopters crashed on a car dealership where several electric vehicles were parked, igniting a fire that was extinguished. Officials said an investigation is underway to determine the cause of the collision. Tree, who was in Brazil on a world tour and was due to be in the UK in September, was aboard one of the helicopters that crashed, leaving all occupants dead, a police source told the AFP. The alternative singer and internet personality was listed as one of 6 people on the manifest of the 2 aircraft shared by the source, who said the victims could not be formally identified yet as they were badly burned in the crash, which that's pretty grievous. The passengers alongside the singer included Brazilian music producer, Argentine video director, and Argentine YouTuber Gaspar Perm, known online as Gaspy. I'm seeing a lot of reactions to both of them. So yeah, let's see. The helicopters collided midair in the western suburb of Rosario dos Bandeirantes, I'm sure I fucked that up. Before plummeting into the car park of an electric car dealership, setting ablaze about 20 cars, according to the firefighters. One of the helicopters was carrying 5 people, and the other only the pilot. There were no survivors. 32-year-old Tree with a distinctive bowl haircut and meme-worthy internet persona was known for such hits as Life Goes On, Miss You, and Alien Boy. He has more than 11 million monthly listeners on Spotify, with his top songs listened to over 700 million times. So yeah, closing out, I don't have a ton to say about Oliver Tree. I will say I did enjoy listening to his music. It was interesting to watch some of his music videos, which I would say, at least for me, it takes a lot to like get me to want to be like, oh man, this music video just dropped. Let me click and see what this is, because that's the nature of a music video now. It is the same as like the social media aspect. You kind of have to get the people on their phones, and more times than not, I don't usually hear like, oh man, new artist just dropped a song. Oh, let me see the video. It's just rare, and I feel like Oliver Tree did have that just weird, surreal like, I don't know, abstract vibe, whatever you want to call it. Like, it was a bit interesting. So you'd want to see him. You want to see what the fuck he was going to be on, and if there was a music video to a song. So I don't know. Definitely musically, I feel like his energy, he will be missed. I don't know. I did a quick scroll through the internet before I went on, or at least like on my socials, and people were already like, angrily, weirdly defeated. Like, if you talk shit about Oliver Tree, don't say you miss him. Shit like that. Dude, I am glad that I am not as on social media these days. Y'all know I've definitely just had so many times where I've come on this podcast just to like air that out and be so upset about just stupid shit I would see on my social media page. And I'm sure there'll be more of those crash out rants to come. But like, not on wood. I just feel so much better not really just being on my phone as much. And when I do get on it, it's to do other shit. It's really just to like listen to podcasts or, I don't know, look for news. So yeah. Anyway, R.I.P. I don't know, however you want to slice that. Flowers to you, Mr. Tree. But yeah, that's gonna be the episode for today. Y'all know I don't like to chill on a Sunday, so we're not gonna do that. So thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend, and hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye bye. Mwah.